Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the EsportsEarnings Casters Invitational Group D. My name is Total Biscuit. I shall be providing you the proceedings today alongside the man whose year it always is, Mr. Harstem.
That is indeed correct. And what a beautiful group we have today, Total Biscuit. We're going to be starting off with TKL against Artosis, I do believe. And that's, I think, a match everyone is looking forward to.
Yes, absolutely. The inaugural Hearthstone champion, a titan of StarCraft 2. I can't wait to see how his skills have remained polished over the years. A veteran esports competitor, of course, all the way back to StarCraft Brood War with the 6 or so people that actually played that outside of South Korea.
Yeah, very correct. And now he's back on the competitive field for once. It's been some time. I think one of the last time we saw him play competitively in StarCraft 2 must have been in the early GSL qualifiers, where he tried to qualify for GSL Code A. Of course, we did see him win BlizzCon in Hearthstone, but does that really count?
I mean, I think it counts for so very, very much, and I'm sure Artosis believes the same. This, of course, is a Casters Invitational brought to you by EsportsEarnings and Matcherino. There is just over $5,000 on the line, and there are also, if you wish to go and check out the website, some t-shirts available that you can purchase, which bump up the prize pool, and a little bit goes to the casters as well, if you want to give them any more dirty caster money.
Yeah, for sure, and those are some beautiful T-shirts. Have you take a look at? You have taken a look at them already?
Oh yes, absolutely. They are the height of fashion, no doubt about that. I would even wear these outside in certain circumstances, which is ideal. The last thing you want is a T-shirt that you're embarrassed to be seen wearing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, which one is your favorite? Which one would you want to
get? It's such a tough one, but it might end up having to be the glorious Mane of Maynard, and a guy that is, for all intents and purposes, permanently cosplaying Kerrigan.
Yeah, that one looks pretty nice. What do you think about I really like the Rotti one and the Artosis one, because it looks like they have the Protoss logo tattooed on their neck. I think it's such a nice little detail with those two. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get one of those two. Depends who gets further in the tournament. That's the one I'll get, I think.
I mean, personally, I didn't know that they didn't have the Protoss logo tattooed on the necks, and in fact, if they don't, I think that sort of speaks volumes to lack of commitment to the StarCraft 2 scene. Probably something that they should remedy. Now, let's have a look at the groups, shall we, and see what's going to be going on with this. The current format is a double elimination best-of-3 bracket. So we're going to be seeing 4 competitors today. 3 groups have already happened. There is 1 more to go. You can see the bracket on the screen right here for Group A. This is what ended up happening. We had Todd, who is our glorious producer. He is the one currently producing this event, and he's the one who's going to be observing, so everybody can breathe a sigh of relief. You don't have to deal with my camera work. He made it through, and Coca made it through as well. So big French representation going on in that group.
Yeah, and if we take a look at Group B, we saw another Frenchie coming in on first place, with Imre going 4-1 in the group, and Rotterdam making out second. So some Dutch pride going on there as well. Nearly beating Wardy, well, nearly, quite easily beating Wardy in that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't hear good things about that one. British representation in StarCraft 2 hasn't exactly been brilliant for a while. Unfortunately, Wardy isn't really flying the flag, as it were.
Yeah, for sure. Then Group C, we did see Pig taking it 4-0. He did have some close games against Zombie Grub, though. I think the one surprise of this tournament so far for me has been Zombie Grub. I really didn't know where her skill level was, and she played extremely well. I think in the Defender Landings game against Pig, she had a really good chance. She was quite far ahead at certain points, and she absolutely dominated Funka. So yeah, she is definitely my dark horse pick for this tournament. And then we get to our group that we have today, Group D, with TKL, Fair Dragon, Yogo, and Artosis. And we already discussed Artosis. What do you know about the other 3?
I think that Fear Dragon may have a tough time. based on what I've seen of his play. Great content producer. As we've seen, that doesn't necessarily lend itself to top SC2 skill. And from what I've seen up to this point, it appears that Todd's clear strategy is to stack the bracket with French people. So it would not in any way surprise me if Yogo is a pretty strong player.
Yeah, I think Yogo is the favorite for me in this group. I would even call him one of the favorites for this tournament. He's a French caster for O Gaming as well, like most of the Frenchies that are playing here. And he is actually one of the guys that I meet on ladder every now and then, and he has managed to take a few games off me. So I feel like he's definitely one of the guys to look out for in this group. He would be my favorite in this group. But after Yogo, I'm not exactly sure who's going to take second place if Yogo takes the first one, because I know very little about all three of their skill levels: Fear Dragon, TKL, and Artosis.
Artosis, of course, has been playing under Smurf accounts on the South Korean ladder for as long as anyone could really remember. But you have to bear in mind, this is a very busy man. This is a guy that casts the GSL and has a family, a very busy family over in South Korea. And, of course, has to keep his Hearthstone skills in peak condition. So, as a BlizzCon champion, the only BlizzCon champion that we do happen to have in this group, it is somebody that you have to keep an eye on. It'll be interesting. I'm intrigued to see what ends up happening. Of course, one of them in South Korea, one in Europe. They'll both be playing the NA server to make sure that they have relatively even pings. But it's a bit of a toss-up. I really don't know, honestly. It's been a long time since I've had the pleasure of watching Artosis play StarCraft.
Yeah, for sure. The tournament is being sponsored by EsportsEarnings and Match Arena. We already showed off Match Arena, so I believe Todd has a beautiful graphic where
Absolutely.
we can see the esports earnings for all the casters participating right now.
Hugely professional production going on right here, just blowing everybody out of the water. And unsurprisingly, this is a graphic in which Todd has the largest number by far compared to anybody. $179,415 for Todd. And then, of course, you have Pig, who strong player within the Australian scene for quite some time. Artosis has won before. He has done well before, all the way back in the StarCraft 2 beta, if you remember. Wonders such as the HD and Husky Invitational, going all the way back then. That was something they competed in. And Rotterdam with a little bit of money and in control there as well. And then things sort of go horribly downhill from there. I think the biggest surprise for me up to this point was actually In Control falling out of his group. That was a bit of a shock.
Yeah, that was quite a shock for everyone. I think seeing Koka advance there, that was quite shocking. But maybe we're going to see some shocks today as well, as we do have our first game loaded up, and it's going to be a good one, Total Biscuit.
I hope that you are right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Group D of the Esports Caster Invitational. And spawning to the southwest position in the purple trunks, playing Protoss, representing the country of France, it is TKL. Versus his opponent to the northeast position in the orange trunks, playing in South Korea and representing the GSL. He is the one and only Artosis.
Yes. Artosis is a guy that's always on top of the meta. Even if he doesn't practice a lot, he always talks about StarCraft. He's one of those guys that, if you hang out with him, he gets a couple of drinks in, and after 4 drinks in, all he wants to talk about is build orders. And he'll come up to you, he's like, "Hey Harstem, I got this one DT drop build and it's not really working for me." I'm like, "Man, Artosis, like I lost this tournament. Let's not, let's talk about something else than start." He's like, "Nah, man, I want to know. I want to be good again. I want to get better when I get home." And I'm like, "All right." And
he's saying he wants to be the very best, like no one ever was.
Yeah. After a couple of drinks, before that, the aspiration of becoming the best StarCraft player in the world aren't really there. But get the man a couple of beers, and all he talks about is StarCraft build orders, and it's truly something amazing.
A sight to behold, truly the Ash Ketchum of the StarCraft 2 world. I I'm very interested to see what he's going to do. He had a little bit of a reputation back in the day for being a bit of a cheeser. Now, that said, not really the map to do it on with the pocket expansions right there. And with Legacy of the Void, as you are well aware as a pro Protoss player, the cheese, a little bit trickier to pull off.
Yeah, but we do see TKL trying something, as there is a proxy pylon going down on the north side of the map, very close to Artosis, his main base. But Artosis, I feel like, is closer to the meta than TKL is. Walling his main ramp with 2 pylons, getting a faster expansion. This is really what you want to be doing on a map like Proxima. And I'm very curious what TKL is going to do. It seems to be
proxy
a proxy
Stargate by the looks of it. Yeah, that makes a decent amount of sense. Now, Artosis actually lost his scouting probe in TKL's base. It hung around just a little bit too long. It waited, the mothership core popped out, and that was that for the brave little Probius. Stargate, proxy, versus a Twilight Council on the way here for Artosis. Currently, has Artosis really had any indication whatsoever that something like this could be coming? Actually, he's moving the mothership core into the base right now. He's probably going to get a little bit suspicious when he doesn't see any tech.
Yeah, he also sees the timing of the Nexus, so he knows he's safe from any kind of one base all in. So the next thing on his mind should be the Oracle. He already has 2 Stalkers out. Will he chrono boost a 3rd Stalker?
Oh, now Artosis loses the mothership core to a pylon overcharge and a couple of Stalkers there. Very, very unfortunate. Truly let the rope burn on that one just a little bit too long.
Yeah, and that
is about ready.
Yeah, and Artosis only has 2 Stalkers in position. He's trying to rebuild his mothership core, but he doesn't really have pylons in position in his main base. He is getting one in the natural, so that will be fine. But I'm very scared for what's about to happen in his main base. Stalkers against an Oracle. He can just target down a couple of probes, and Artosis has quite a bit of trouble.
Yep, nice, very nice for TKL. Good control, but he's actually going to lose the Oracle there. Just wanted to do as much damage as possible, but he could have quite easily pulled back from that. Why do you think he didn't?
Maybe he felt like getting 2 or 3 more probes was worth it, but I do not completely agree with that decision, because Artosis did have the faster Nexus.
Yeah, he had an early expansion.
So he did have the probe lead already. I think having an Oracle is a massive asset to any Protoss kind of army. 2nd Oracle coming out, but now there's 5 Stalkers already. Pylon in the natural is going to overcharge. Will he get the...
Oh, he does not. Cheekily gets out with 10 hit points. I don't know, the 2nd Oracle being shut down the way that it was, I don't honestly think that this really worked out all that well for TKL.
No, he has a tech structure on the other side of the map, still has one Oracle with only 10 HP. So once Blink finishes, he should be very, very careful with that one. If he loses both these Oracles, this was definitely not a success. Now I would call it about even. There is already a robotics facility for TKL in his main base, chrono boosting out an Immortal, so he's safe. Yeah, but pretty much a standard game from here on out, I think. Artosis,
with his known dislike of pylons, blowing up his own to make sure that he can get out, leaving only a single pylon. I believe there's a professional jargon term for when you only have a single pylon powering multiple buildings, but I just can't quite remember what that is.
Yeah, me neither. Maybe in control pylon, I believe is what.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, indeed. Because it's called that because the pylon controls all of the surrounding buildings, so it is in control of them. There's actually another one in Artosis' base right here that has a 5 buildings surrounding it. So there we go. In the meantime, though, in go the Blink Stalkers, and immediately met with the firepower of an Immortal and a couple of sentries. Nice move to prevent the Stalkers from getting up on the high ground there.
Yeah, did manage to snipe off 1 sentry and deplete all the energy of the 2nd sentry, so hallucinations counts will be a little harder to pull off. TKL keeps being annoying with this 1 Oracle, but now loses it to 3 Stalkers, so he doesn't have a... Oh, he actually rebuilt. He made a 3rd Oracle, which I'm not sure if is a correct move. Whoa, he actually goes in. There's nothing in the main
He got in, yeah. The mothership core sort of out of position, and the pylon positioning not brilliant to defend that line either. So a few probes picked off in the meantime. Artosis is looking to go up the ramp again, but this time there are 2 Immortals, and that's not enough Stalkers to make anything work.
No, I'm not sure what Artosis is trying to achieve here with the Stalkers on this side of the map. There's 2 Immortals, 3rd Immortal popping out as well. And all he has is Blink Stalkers. And Blink Stalkers are fun to micro.
Oh, ouch!
Yeah, but they don't fight very well once the big guns come out. In this case, the Immortals. Still one Oracle on the other side of the map. We see Charge and +1 starting for Artosis. 3rd base about to finish for him, but he is down 20 supply. It isn't looking as good as it was 2-3 minutes ago for him. Oracle
No, it really, really isn't. Let's have a look at that. And not a huge amount of damage done. Chased away. The better reaction time there on the pylon overcharge for Artosis, and he decides to wisely back away with the Blink Stalkers there. You can see he has a very fancy skin for this, but just like a gold card, it doesn't unfortunately make it any more effective. Charge being added in for Artosis. We'll transition through to possibly a little bit of Zealot Archon with that Templar Archives on the way.
Definitely possible, as we see the Oracle shooting once again, getting a couple of kills, and quite successful at harassing, actually. In total, how many kills did TKL already get? 23 worker kills. And Artosis didn't get a single worker kill himself, which would explain the 40 supply deficit that he has right now. And I'm feeling a little bit scared for Artosis at this point. Yes, he does have a nice infrastructure. He has decent tech with the Templar Archives, faster +1, but where is his army? He has 9 Blink Stalkers against 5 Immortals, 13 Stalkers, with Blink as well, a couple of Sentries. How is he ever going to fight this army?
This is what we call a really lucky top deck for TKL. He had exactly the 3 times larger army he needed to win, and he is going to march forward. He shouldn't wait. He absolutely should not wait. Artosis spots it with an observer and is probably cursing everything right now. Rightfully so. A couple of pylons going down defensively. TKL making the mistake of not attacking at this point. He has when he's now finally moving, but there is still not really enough for Artosis to push this back unless TKL engages very, very badly. Down go the pylons. Quick blink back. He has enough immortal firepower to easily chew through this. And here we go. There's the Zealot charge on the way in. Guardian Shield pop. Immortals focus firing on Zealots rather than Stalkers. Needs to work on that. But the Zealot line has rapidly fallen. A couple of quick blinks back from TKL. And that is just too much firepower.
Yeah, definitely is. 3 Immortals still alive and standing. No reinforcements for TKL though, as there is not a Prism. And now the Zealots are charging in together with the Probes. And Probes do fight pretty decently against Stalker Immortals. They fire so slowly. One more Immortal going down. Blink forward by Artosis here. Both of the Immortals go down. Now it's just Stalkers against Stalkers. Incredible defense here by Artosis.
Hey, there's some interesting choices of focus fire there from TKL with the 5 Immortals. Basically shooting at the wrong thing almost 100% of the time. Those Stalkers staying alive far longer than they should. And great probe pull by Artosis actually defends. Certainly economically behind as a result of doing that, but way less than you'd think. 48 probes to 60 right here for Artosis. And looks like TKL may have missed lethal.
He definitely did miss lethal. He also forgot the macro for about 2 minutes there as his money was climbing up to the high 3000s. Normally what we would say is that he's saving for the carrier switch, but there were no fleet beacons or stargates ready. So a little bit of an issue there. Not having a prism with that push makes it very hard to warp in macro and attack at the same time. He's spending that money now though, getting a forward base, getting that +2, a couple of extra gateways, second robotics facility, and Artosis still isn't in safe water at this point.
No, absolutely not. That was a far better defense than he had any right to. On paper, that should have been a straight-up loss for Artosis. Unfortunately, bad focus fire and army control from TKL puts him in a position where 5 Immortals is reduced to 1. And now we've got Archons on the field. We've got a nice little attack upgrade for Artosis and Zealot charge in the mix with no adaptation from TKL. Bear in mind, TKL currently sitting on no sentries versus a significant number of chargelets. That's going to be a little bit messy. And here we go, another engagement coming in. And sorry, he actually has just warped in 4 sentries. Missed that, and Artosis is backing off, but nothing done so far. TKL holds the 3rd base working on a fourth as well. Artosis grabbing the gold base up to the top.
Yeah, I feel like Artosis really needs something to get back into this game, and the gold base might just be it. He hasn't been ahead in workers for some time. He is now up 10 workers, and in combination with the gold base, if he is capable of holding this gold base, he might be able to get back into the game. He has the better army composition, but he has a smaller army, especially because he also has a higher probe count. If you take a look at the supply, the army count for Artosis actually isn't that big right now. He's also down in upgrades by 1 at this point. So I'm still a little scared for Artosis, but it's starting to look better and better for him.
It really, really is, honestly. And you accurately pointed out that on the macro front, TKL pretty much stopped around 60 probes and then never went higher than that. He's currently sitting on 58. Artosis going to almost ret levels of workers here with 73. So that is going to serve him well. Try to take the 5th base. TKL spotted it. He's trying to get on top of it. What I'd like to see from really either player here is some big harassment. Looks like we've got yet another fight going in. TKL has an overwhelming number of units, but he does get attacked from the flank once again with the charging zealots. No force fields to stop them. They get in the middle, do some significant damage, allowing the Archons to get to grips with a fairly squishy army. There is enough focus fire here, though, for TKL to bring that army down. He jumps forward, blinks on top of it. He knows that he's got this fight, and Artosis' army crumbles. There is nothing left but a single fancy-looking immortal as Stalker and a couple of morphing Archons. That is not going to happen. Probes off the line. They did great last time for him, but unfortunately, that won't work a second.
Yeah, you know you have a problem when there's as many Stalkers as you have probes to fight with.
Yeah.
And Artosis in a bit of trouble, really lacking some big firepower in that army. He didn't really have any immortals. The only immortal he had was at his gold base. And right now TKL is going in for the kill, finds the gold base, takes it down, and I don't see anything left for Artosis to do in this game except for tap out.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of going back from this. He is building quite a few charging zealots. I think he would have been better served to have a lot more of those prior to the previous fight. That would have helped a great deal, considering that TKL really didn't have many force fields. Could have really got to grips with it. But this might be too little too late. TKL now building carriers just to make sure, but I don't think it's really going to get to that point. There is a huge aggressive blink right on top of it. Doesn't care about the fact there's a lot of zealots, and that actually is something of a mistake. Look at the amount of damage that's being done by these zealots. You do not jump into melee range of charging zealots with Stalkers when you can avoid it. There should be just enough here for TKL. That was a costly engagement, but as you pointed out, he has the money. There's the GG, and TKL taking the first game of this best-of-3 series.
Yeah, that was a potato blink if I've ever seen a potato blink in my life. But yeah, TKL taking game number 1 with some aggressive play. I felt once the game stabilized, Artosis was definitely getting into his zone, getting those warpins going, getting the better army composition. I felt the theory behind it was good, but he just was so far behind from that Oracle harass. I checked at the end, I believe it was 33 or 34 workers lost to 3 Oracles. Well, that's a little bit too much, Artosis, to come back into the game.
What was really interesting about it is that Artosis was, of course, aware that there was a proxy Stargate and made no effort to shut it down. I think after successfully deflecting the first 2 Oracles, he rightly believed he was ahead, because he was. Yeah. But the thing is that TKL just kept building them, which it's just surprising that he was allowed to do that. You know, just 1 Zealot up there, 1 Stalker, kill the pylon, that's it. That's, you know, that threat is neutralized. But it's very easy to get tunnel visioned on something in StarCraft. You know, you're focused on a lot of other things, and you could just easily forget to do something. It's very easy for a caster to look on that and say, you should have done that, but we're not the ones playing.
Yeah, definitely correct. We are not the ones playing. Instead, it's a lovely American caster and a lovely French caster. And I believe we're going into game number 2.
Yeah, so there is something to unfortunately announce here. As you're probably aware, bearing in mind that we're playing with casters all over the world, sometimes this has to be done from replays for the comfort and the benefit of the casters. Unfortunately, both TKL and Artosis reported that Game 2 was actually lost. It was corrupt. However, the result of Game 2 was a win for Artosis. So we're actually currently moving into Game 3 of the series. This is Game 3, not Game 2, and it's currently 1 apiece in the best of 3, and this is the rubber match right here on Abyssal Reef. To the northwest position, representing the country of France in the purple trunks, playing Protoss, it's TKL. Versus his opponent to the southeast position, currently 1 apiece in this best of 3 series, fighting for his life and the honor of the GSL in the orange trunks, playing Protoss, it's Artosis.
Yes, and this map is a little bit of a different map than Proxima, so I wouldn't be surprised to see 2 gate openers from both players here, instead of what we saw Artosis do last game with the single gate full wall into the in-base expand. TKL with a very early scout, which is quite uncommon. Maybe trying to trick Artosis into making him believe that it's some kind of cannon rush. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, put the pile in the back. This is not the sort of thing that generally works all that well in Legacy of the Void, but as you saw, 6 probes sort of pulled off the line momentarily. Artosis chasing him around because this is hugely annoying and also potentially a genuine threat if there were actually maybe a second probe to back that up in the forge. Of course, we know there's not, and there's the cancellation, but messing with the mind of a player is hugely important.
Yeah, not only messing with the mind, take a look at the production tab and see the difference between the cybernetics core timing. Artosis actually being a solid 9 or 10 seconds behind in his cybernetics core timing. That can actually be quite significant in a PvP game if the adepts get to the base earlier than you expect them to. It can be very lethal.
I'm interested to see if, I mean, it really can't. You saw in the first game that Artosis went for that wall off, which would have prevented adepts from ghosting into the base. And unfortunately, of course, he doesn't have that this time, but he is building 2 adepts of his own. And TKL going for something a little bit older in terms of the build, throwing up a Stalker, a second Stalker to back that up as well. Neither of them going for, there we go, first Mothership core on the way. And for TKL as well.
Yeah, take a look on close to Artosis' base, though. There's a proxy pylon going up once again. So I have a weird feeling we're going to see a gateway proxy there. Maybe we're going to see a good old trusty 4-gate or a 3-gate pressure is also possible these days, of course. That would explain the Stalker opening for TKL, as an aggressive push is just a lot stronger with Stalkers rather than Adepts. 2 more Stalkers being built right now by TKL, so it's going to up to 4 to 6 Stalkers.
Artosis is going to find that proxy pylon here. Some active scouting with the militia squad, learning from game 1 that you don't trust TKL not to build things outside of your base. And TKL intercepting the adepts. Of course, they may warp right past him, and that's exactly what they do. Neither player with the expansion.
Yeah, and I think Artosis is getting a little worried seeing that. He says, all right, I've seen 4 Stalkers now, no expansion. He really was planning on expanding himself, but right now he might not be too sure. Adept's actually going into the main base, getting 3 worker kills already, getting a 4th right now, and with only single Nexus production of probes, losing 4 probes actually is a big deal. And
that is pretty significant. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, Artosis knows this, is getting defensive right now. He saw no Nexus. He's like, alright, you're probably going to cheese me again. I'm getting a robo defensively. I'm getting a 3rd gate. And I think that's a good call. Getting the Nexus only after he gets the extra attack, getting that extra 3rd gateway. TKL, his first pylon got discovered by the Mothership core, but the second one hasn't been spotted yet. And there's a gateway next to it, and another pylon. So, sticking with his plan.
Yep, it's a case of, well, I'm committed right now. I don't have an expansion. My opponent knows I don't have an expansion. Really, the only thing I can do is attack, 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 and hope for the best. The Mothership core for TKL is curiously back at the base, so high ground vision could potentially be a problem here for TKL, especially with those 2 sentries.
Yeah, definitely. And Artosis warping in a pylon on the other side of the map, maybe for some kind of counter attack with Adepts. Try to get a couple of probes while he's defending his main ramp. Chrono boosting out on Immortal as well, so I feel like Artosis is just going to be fine. TKL trying to get up onto the ramp.
And he gets up there, but some of the army was left behind, and that will cause a little bit of a problem. Artosis Mothership core immediately kicked out, but not before 3 pylon overcharges, causing an extremely costly engagement for TKL and a crushing victory for Artosis in that fight.
Yeah, and Artosis is very confident, walks down the ramp, gets force-fielded, but 4 Stalkers did manage to make their way down, chasing down this sentry, and these 2 Stalkers get the sentry. Those 2 Stalkers will escape, but what does TKL really have army-wise right now? He has 3 Stalkers, a single sentry, and a Mothership Core. On the other hand, Artosis has 8 Stalkers, 2 sentries, and an Immortal. So this is going to be a very tough defense for TKL if Artosis does decide to push.
Looking for that warp in right there. Very, very slow, but it's actually going to get it. In they go. And 3 Adepts taking on that Stalker. That will be a win for Artosis' Adepts. And in the meantime, of course, the rest of his army is going to come. Nice force field there from TKL to block the army out, but that's only going to last for a couple more seconds. And after that, the rest of the army is going to come in. And honestly, TKL's got nothing. He knows it. GG, he taps out. And a somewhat cheesy series going to a very experienced chooser indeed in the form of Artosis there.
Yeah, however, Artosis in this series was playing very safe, very solid. Trying to go for the longer game every time. Trying to take the safe route, at least the games that we saw. So congratulations to Artosis for winning his first series in the EsportsEarnings Caster Invitational. And he's going to go to the finals match, where he will be facing the winner of Yogo versus Fear Dragon.
That he will. Bear in mind, this is a double elimination bracket. So, TKL is not out yet. He will fall to the lower bracket. He's got a harder road to go. Artosis just needs to win 1 more series to make his way through to the playoffs.
Yeah, correct indeed. 1 more series, and he's in a round of 8. It's been some time since he's been in a round of 8. Last time might have been the HDH Invitational, like you mentioned. Was he in the round of 8 there?
Now you're asking me to remember the brackets of a tournament that happened 8 years ago. Thankfully we have the wonders of Liquipedia to find out exactly how well he did in that tournament. Oh, he lost the first series immediately to TLO 2-1.
Poor Artosis.
Poor Artosis.
So this might be his first round of 8 finish ever in StarCraft.
Indeed. He longingly stares at the trophy for his BlizzCon 2013 Hearthstone Invitational win, thinking someday he will recapture that glory. Today may be that day, Harstem. It is possible. We're going to be taking a short break, folks. When we come back, the next best of 3 in the EsportsEarnings Caster Invitational is coming your way. Don't go anywhere.